Hello, everyone. My name is Usman Raz. I am the director, animator, and co-composer behind The Glassworker. I am the co-founder of Mano Animation Studios, which is the first hand-drawn animation studio in Pakistan.
It's like the sun
lives in there. The Great Ravine is disputed territory. We claim it, so do they. So we go to war. Idiocy.
So I've been fascinated by and obsessed with animation since I was a child. I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil. Music and drawing were a big part of my childhood, and I never did those things thinking I would one day make a film, but the obsession and love for the craft was there. And the idea for The Glassworker came from obviously my love for animation, but my trips to Italy where I saw the Murano glass blowers. I think I was 14 or 15 at the time. And I wondered, why has nobody made a film on this? This is so incredible, the actual craft itself. And then the end result is beautiful, but I was more fascinated by the craft itself. So I kept that in the back of my mind. And then the experiences I had growing up in Pakistan, what it meant to be an artist growing up in such a tumultuous time in the early 2000s, incorporating all of that and my love for artistry and craftsmanship and music, all of that rolled into what is now The Glassworker. I think especially during the initial stages of production, when it was just me sitting at my desk, drawing everything, coming up with image boards. Image boards are isolated scenes from the movie in the early conceptual stages. So I was drawing those, and I didn't draw digitally at the time. I was using watercolors. So I was painting those, and my piano was behind my desk. So I would wait for the paint to dry and turn around and actually write a motif on the piano inspired by what I had drawn. Then what would happen was the music would go off in another direction. So I would turn back to my desk and get another paper and draw another image board because the music was inspiring me so much. And it was a fun back and forth. And while I was working on it, I really felt like this is a film that I need to make. I don't know how I'm going to make it. There's no animation infrastructure in Pakistan. I think my just motivation and passion for animation and film and storytelling is what really pushed me to make this movie. I think that the way you present your project is very important, and thankfully, due to the training I received when I was giving my TED talk, and because of the TED Fellows program, I'm a TED Senior Fellow as well. So I was around this environment where the way you showcase your work is very important, and I felt that theatricality and that drama behind all of it is something I really wanted to maintain. So when I would present the project to whoever I was trying to convince to come on board, I would show all of the image boards I had drawn. I would edit together a rough animatic of the early storyboards with all of the music that I had written. That was very important to me because I think if you showcase a cohesive vision, people start getting excited. Just like there's no infrastructure or industry in Pakistan, there was nobody willing to finance the project. What we had to do initially was do a Kickstarter, which I debuted on the TED stage, to make a pilot animation. And I think all of the money that we raised, we were able to make a 5-6 minute pilot with rough character designs and just an idea for the art direction. It was very much a work in progress. But when we were able to raise a chunk of the financing, then what happened was Jeffrey Wexler from Studio Ghibli and Studio Ponok, he came on board on the project. We discussed to make the film a little more ambitious in terms of the war scenes and other things that I wanted to showcase in it. And when we did that, we kind of went back to the drawing board and said, okay, since we are going all out with this thing, let's just refine the vision for it a little bit more, make the character designs a little more consistent, just really make it as polished as we can, and then embark on it. So, and what I also did was I had drawn 2 separate versions of the storyboards. I scrapped those as well and then started a completely new storyboard for the movie from scratch. Yeah, that's the movie that we ended up with. So what happened was, in the timeline for this movie, in about the 10 years it took to make this film, 6 years were really spent in research and development and doing the Kickstarter, making the pilot animation, and then we made the film in 4 years. I think the initial stages were extremely difficult. So we had to reverse engineer a lot of animation techniques, but also production techniques, things that I was obviously very familiar with because I'd grown up watching so many behind the scenes documentaries. I love those. I love those as much as the movies themselves because you get a glimpse into this magical world of filmmaking. I think it was a lot of enthusiasm, but also this willingness to break down every element that you see in these behind the scenes documentaries, reverse engineer things to fit our production pipelines. So there was a lot of experimentation and a lot of research and development that we did early on to find something that works for us while we were making this movie in Pakistan. No one can make a film like this on their own. So as difficult as it was for me to delegate and kind of get other people to do what I wanted, because my vision was so strong for the project. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I storyboarded the entire film myself. I knew all of the shot compositions I wanted, down to the parallax layering for all the shots that would have either moving cameras or other things. It was difficult for me because I wanted to do everything and I couldn't. But thankfully, because of the talented people that I was working with, sometimes the things that they came up with were even better than how I was imagining it. So we'll always be grateful for that. I think with both the main characters, I tried to inject aspects of my personality into them, especially with Vincent being a craftsman growing up under an extremely creative father, which is how I grew up in my family. A lot of people do a lot of wonderful things and are in the art. All of them are in the arts. Being in that environment, growing up around creativity, growing up around people who really notice all the little details and things, that was something in terms of aspects of my childhood that I tried to put into the character. And then, of course, with me and my drawing and animation and my love for that craft, I could really relate to the experiences that I was putting Vincent through. And then, of course, with Elise being a musician and also growing up playing classical music, I grew up playing classical piano, which is very repertoire heavy. And I wanted to write my own music. So we incorporated aspects of that into the character as well. So I would say that there's a lot of my experiences within the characters, and of course, especially Vincent's experiences. And that wasn't for any other reason other than I can only write from what I know and what I understand in order to make the story personal.